The situation going on in Israel and Palestine is a complete travesty.
Not the least because you've been distracted and haven't been doing your work.
But no worries, Louis Angel is here to teach you how to stop being distracted by curiosities on the other side of the world that will never really affect you, and how you can actually get back to doing your work. But you have to watch this entire video for the secret. Like, this video is the one thing you shouldn't get distracted about. It has nothing to do with my bias, unlike CNN and Fox News. Without further ado, let me start off by asking you a few questions. Imagine someone who doesn't have any credit, doesn't have a job, doesn't have an internship lined up for them, has no hobbies aside from browsing the internet and YouTube videos, no girls, not even a girlfriend, like just no girls in his life, period, never goes outside. Do you think this person is going to benefit from learning more about the complicated situation in Israel and Palestine? No! Of course not. If you don't know my story, basically, I used to be a very, very unproductive, degenerate femboy, and now I have turned myself through hard work and dedication into a very productive and very not degenerate femboy. I remember a few years ago, back towards the end of my degeneracy, was right about the time when the US pulled out of Afghanistan. And immediately, since I fancy myself a bit of an intellectual, my YouTube at the time is all history, philosophy, religion. A large chunk of the history channels I followed are now doing a slew of videos about how the US was always at a geographical disadvantage over the Taliban. I was literally that meme, like, okay, like a bunch of Redditors sitting around the round table discussing how they would have handled Afghanistan differently. I had overdue schoolwork. It had been days since I had gone outside, and here I was just procrastinating by looking up videos on this really niche thing. Because it is niche, despite the fact that the whole international media is on it. Because when is Afghanistan or Israel Palestine ever gonna matter to a US citizen? I'm gonna tell you a story of this one guy I know. We're gonna call him Alec. This was actually very recent. A month ago, I visit him, and he seems to be doing much better. His hair is kempt, still smells of weed, but at the least his skin doesn't like give an unhealthy hue to it. He offers me some Doritos. They're really stale. He's literally living in the basement of his parents' house. And I look at his computer setup, and one of the monitors is on Reddit, and the subreddits he follows are all like international news, geopolitics, like military things in other countries. Now keep in mind, he's looking for employment. Someone looking for employment in their parents' basement. What do you think their monitors should look like? I should walk in and see job applications on every flipping monitor. And I ask him, why are you looking at this stuff? And he's like, I like to keep up with current events. And I didn't say anything, but in my head, I'm like, yeah. And how's that working out for you? When are they gonna ask you about the geopolitical climate of Malaysia in your job interview at Wendy's? It reminds me of this other time, again with Alec, where I shared a link to a YouTube community post that I found hilarious. It was like this history channel asking people who would they rather be, Uzbekistani or Mongolian, or I don't remember the exact ethnicities. And more people voted for Uzbekistani. And like just in a like kind of cringe, like edgelord way, I was like, I can't believe all these people want to be Uzbekistani over whatever Macedonian, whatever other thing it was. And he was like, well, yeah, that makes sense because these guys have like genocided, or these guys have more control over these guys. And I'm like, how do you know about the geopolitics of freaking Uzbekistan, Macedonia, Mongolia, wherever the hell this was, Turkmenistan? And he's like, oh, I like to keep up with current events. Like, bro, you don't have a job. I'm gonna finish off with yet another story. This one is from today. It's a femboy subreddit, and this one guy was like, my parents found out I'm a femboy. They made a copy of my key, came into my apartment, found my women's clothing and toys. By that, I assumed he means sex toys. And they send me a message saying, get your priorities straight. And everyone in the comments is like, they shouldn't have done that. That's breaking and entering. That's illegal. You have a right to be angry. Everyone in the comments is supporting him. And I'm like, they didn't say you were an abomination. They didn't say they're disowning you. They didn't say they don't love you anymore. They literally just said, get your priorities straight. Because in another comment, this guy mentioned he doesn't have any credit to his name. Dude, you're living by yourself and you don't even have a credit card? Do you need to get your priorities straight? Like, should you be spending this much time on girly clothing and freaking sex toys rather than building skills and even building constructive hobbies, going out and meeting new people, being a part of the community, something that will actually make your life better? You get the point. You can't be into this shit when you have more important things to do in your life. So how do you actually do those more important things? Dopamine detoxing. There's this thing called the dopamine detox, which is basically you banish all instant gratification activities from your life. Adult content, junk food, social media, that includes Reddit and YouTube, mindless scrolling, clicking on Wikipedia articles, drugs. Banish all instant gratification from your life until the final 2 hours of the day. This leaves you with literally nothing to do but healthy habits like meditation, stretching, journaling, reading, and the tasks that you've been avoiding. Because your dopamine level is now getting reset, because before it's hyper-stimulated by all these instant gratification activities, so that when you have to sit down and do something that isn't as stimulating, like the hard work, it feels nearly impossible because your brain's dopamine levels, the levels it's used to, are so off the charts. I'm not gonna go into it because it would be a whole nother video, but if you want to know more about dopamine detoxing, you can message me on Discord or schedule a call with me on Calendly. I just want to help out other guys who are in this. Remember, fortune favors the bold, so be bold. We're all gonna make it, boys. Ciao.